folks, and welcome to the Daily Ratings Weekly Movie News Podcast. This week's news brought to you by Big Directors, Big Moves. Yes, let's start with Quentin Tarantino, because there's always buzz and almost no certainty with whatever he's got going on. But things became a little bit more clear for Tarantino's near future while on a podcast this past week. So Quentin got into why he canceled making his 10th film, The Film Critic, basically saying that, 1, who cares about a movie about a film critic, and 2, that it wasn't good enough or different enough, and that when he makes his 10th film, he wants it to be something that no one has done on screen before. So that leaves the question of what is really next, which Quentin also answered. So it is going to be a play. He has said multiple times that writing books and creating plays is something he wants to get into, and in fact, his script for the play is all done, and Quentin plans on starting things up in January. So he had said, quote, "We'll start the ball rolling in January because I figured it's for the first of the year." And he also said that it's probably going to take up 1.5 to 2 years of my life. If it's a success and I get to do a tour version of it, now if it's a flop, then I'll be done very quickly. But even starting from scratch, it'll probably be a year before it's in front of an audience, end quote. So this pushes a film by Tarantino back by years, so at least we finally know, and we'll also see how successful he is at this whole new format. And maybe a Quentin Tarantino play will be rolling through your city in just a couple years. Some more news from a famous director here. Oliver Stone will be making a movie for the first time in about 10 years. So Stone has been wanting to make this picture for a while, but has had trouble getting funding for it. But now he has a budget thanks to European backers, and it will start to shoot this fall. The movie is called White Lies, and is going to be starring Benicio del Toro. Filming will take place in Thailand and Italy, and the story follows a child of divorce who starts to repeat his parents' mistakes and ends up setting off in a new journey of discovery. We'll see how much of a comeback Stone can mount with this. His last major film, Snowden, came in with mixed reviews, and Stone himself says that he's been blacklisted for almost 10 years after making a documentary of Vladimir Putin. So we'll just see how this new narrative film, White Lies, fares for the legendary director. Actor and director Ben Stiller looks to something bigger than Severance Season 3. In fact, Stiller has opted out of directing Season 3, so at least some of his time will be freed up, and he is currently prepping a new movie that will be a World War II survival film. Very interesting for Stiller. He hasn't directed a film since 2015's Zoolander 2, but certainly he has been busy. So one with Severance and another TV project, but currently he is working with Amazon MGM to make The 7-5. He's also making a film adaptation of a Rachel Maddow book, and a project that we talked about a couple months ago, which is Stiller is working on a Twilight Zone movie. So there's a ton in the works. Who knows when we'll get the World War II film, but Stiller really covers a lot of genres and has proven himself in multiple ways. So, a World War II survival pick from him sounds pretty cool. We'll see what we get. Some updates on Superman. Yes, James Gunn has the initial story done already for Superman 2, which he announced that he's been working on just a couple days after Superman was released. The film is now being fast-tracked, and in fact, Gunn wants to be shooting Superman 2 in early 2026 already. So that puts the film coming out in 2027, which really is extremely quick, considering he's got other DCU projects still being worked on, but that's how much Warner Bros. Trusts Gunn and Superman itself. Now let's talk about the Duffer Brothers. Matt and Ross Duffer are famous for their creation of Stranger Things over on Netflix. But with the last season of Stranger Things coming out, people were wondering what will be the brothers' next big thing. And it sounds like they have ideas and big ideas, but their time at Netflix is over. So the Duffer Brothers are on the growing list of creators and directors who absolutely can't stand the theatrical release strategy, or lack thereof, over at Netflix. So the Duffers are packing their bags and moving to Paramount, where the two parties are in advanced talks for both theatrical and streaming movies. So the new leadership at Paramount is really making moves quick, and the reports coming out that this deal, if signed, is huge. So we'll see what the brothers have in store for us in a post-Stranger Things world. Last thing I have here is Jason Bourne. We've covered a few months ago that Universal lost the rights to the Bourne franchise, and that a bidding war might have broken out for the IP. But now, a few months later, basically what ended up happening was Universal went and bought the rights out again. And they plan on moving on projects pretty quickly. So Matt Damon has made comments that he would come back to play Bourne at least one more time. And Joe Barton has written the latest draft of the script. Barton has written for well-received shows The Lazarus Project and Black Doves. What's really cool is that director Edward Berger is considering or being considered to direct the new film. Berger might have some time opened up here after not getting the Bond 26 gig, with Denis Villeneuve getting that, but maybe Berger has another spy sandbox to play in, which means that we would be getting 2 new, fast-tracked, large spy franchise films with some of the 2 biggest names in Hollywood right now. I think that's pretty exciting. I kind of hope that Berger gets this, and let's see what he can do with it. But with that, let's jump on over to the box office for this past weekend. So 5th best at the box office was The Bad Guys 2 with $7.5 million. 4th was The Fantastic Four First Steps with $9 million. 3rd for the weekend was Nobody 2, which is a newly released film and just nabbing $9.3 million for its opening weekend. I'm not sure if that's what they were hoping for. 2nd was Freakier Friday yet again with $14.3 million. And the best movie once again at the box office was Zach Cregger's Weapons, still raking in $24.5 million. Coming up this Thursday, Vincent Daly will be watching, rating, and reviewing. So for our 200th episode, folks, we are covering a renowned film from 1963, High and Low, from legendary director Akira Kurosawa. Then we're jumping to 2003 for Park Chan-wook's Old Boy. 10 years later, then we have Old Boy once again, directed by Spike Lee. And finally, we're covering newly released, now in theaters, kind of, It's Highest to Lowest, again, directed by Spike Lee. So Spike likes to do this, has big appreciation for Kurosawa, loved the 2003 Old Boy film, and likes to take on those projects kind of again in his own way. So we'll see what Vincent Daly has to see about those on Thursday. But that's it for your weekly movie news here, folks. We'll leave you today with a quote from a director, James Gunn. "I love raccoons. I had a raccoon figurine collection as a kid, and now I have 2 movies with Ranger Rick jokes in them. I love them. They just come in my backyard all the time, and we just stare at each other like a couple of idiots." And all right, folks, the Daily Ratings Weekly Movie News Podcast. That was it. See you on Thursday.